Hey guys, how you doing? Welcome to American Defender. Today we're going to take a little trip down the road of high point history. That's what we're going to do. Before we do that, though, I got to give a shout out to Todd the Gun Guy. Everybody, if you could, please, just take a couple minutes. Go check out his channel. Maybe subscribe if you would like. He's a new YouTuber. He's been on for a little while. And let's go on over there and show him some love. You know, I know what that's like, struggling here on YouTube. A lot of us do. Okay. So let's go on over there, and if you could, please, it'd mean a lot to me if you went over there and checked him out. I'd also like to do a big shout out. A shed out. What is a shed out? Something a snake does. Why did I say that? Because my snake's sitting right here shedding. Not shitting, shedding. I am all sorts of tired, so you'll have... I'm kind of kooky today, guys. Fair warning. Big shout out to Eddie's Vlogs. Or Eddie's Vlog. Eddie's Vlog. That's his channel. Eddie's Vlog, I have known him for a long time here on YouTube. We've never physically met each other, but we used to talk to each other all the time here on YouTube. And I've mentioned him a couple times, his old channel. Because he used to have a channel by the name of American Made 72. And back then I was Jim's 72. And my show was American Defender. Now the channel's just American Defender, obviously. And I've been kind of trying to find him. Because I thought he was a pretty cool dude, and I got along with him great. And it just happened yesterday to type in American Made 72. And he had just happened to show up. So I jumped on his vlog and was listening to him. And he was talking about what happened to American Made 72 and why he got rid of that channel. Which makes a lot of sense in that video. So I, said basically, how in the heck are you? Ain't heard from you in a while. How you doing? And invited him over to the channel. So if you guys see him over here, give him a very warm welcome. He was a subscriber from many, 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 many moons ago. I'm one of these few YouTubers. That's kind of one of the great things about being the little guy. I'm one of these few YouTubers that tries his best to actually remember his viewers. Okay, and remember your name. I'm not the best at it. I'm not going to say that. But, I try to keep everybody involved, is what I try to do. And I think that's an important thing to do, and it's something that makes you all feel more at home at the channel. I don't want this to just be some dude with a bunch of guns talking and shooting and acting like he's, some badass, and I'm better than you, and you better subscribe, because there's enough of those channels, and we don't need those. Okay, we don't need those channels. I want this channel to be a place where you can come, be comfortable. Nobody's going to harass you, and we can all love and share the same hobbies. We fishing, auto mechanics, firearms, air guns, whatever, okay? Science experiments, things like that. that's what this is here for. I try to offer a little something for everybody. I do my funny, off the wall, sometimes terrible guitar videos, which surprisingly are taking off, and I'm very surprised. At least I consider them to be taking off for what they are. So again, thank you for everybody that's watched those. But anyway, let's go ahead and get to the video. Okay. Thank you all for watching. Stay and subscribe, and go check out Eddie's vlogs and Todd the Gun Guy. It's Todd the Gun Guy. I might have said Ted earlier. I apologize if I did. It's Todd the Gun Guy. Let's get to it. So let's go on down the road of history. Now, a lot of you are familiar with the full-size hype. Okay, this is the JHP 45 ACP. 9-round 45 ACP. Excuse me. But before there was High Point, there was only B. Miller. Before there was B. Miller, there was just 3 companies. 3 separate companies named after 3 separate guys. All of it was kind of roundabout way started by one man. And that man's last name was Stallard. And he was originally a TV repairman in the late 80s. He decided that the TV repair business blew, and he wanted to start offering something to the people of the United States that was meaningful. And that was an affordable, reliable, dependable, rugged firearm. So he started building pistols in 9mm in his garage at his house, which is how a lot of great products get started, right? Am I not right? Let me zoom this in a little bit here. Well, a little too much. Okay. So that's how a lot of these products get started. Well, the product he got started with, I just happen to have. This is a JS-9 Stallard. This is the original High Point. Before there was High Point, before there was B. Miller, before there was MKS Supply, there was Stallard. That is the original right there. It is a big difference. Okay, this gun right here led to another model, which bore the High Point name, which was known as the JF-9, Jeffrey Franklin 9. That's not what it stands for, but you're trying to use phonetics. And then the JF-9 became the C9. So you have the JS, Justin Samantha, JF, Justin Franklin, and then the CS, just the C9. And now we have the new one coming out. No, it's not Yeet Cannon, C9G2. So, at least that's what I've been told it's going to be called, according to connections at MKS Supply and High Point that I have. And I know a lot of people are like, you can't call it the C9G2 because the C9 is a G2. No, it's not. The C9 is not a Gen 2. The C9 is a Gen 1. Before the C9, there was no compact 9mm from B. Miller or MKS Supply. There wasn't one. Before that, there was this. So C9G2 fits and is correct according to the lineage. But to those of you out there in memeland, do you even Yeet cannon, bro? This is the original Yeet cannon. I'm so happy that name, that ridiculous, stupid, ostentatious name, is not going to be put on a gun. All right, HK can do whatever they want. They're going bankrupt. All right, Daniel Defense can do whatever they want. Yeah, keep that name off the high points. I love how High Point has actually trolled the trolls on this. So it was great. Congratulations, High Point. You win the internet. So let's talk about this thing. What's the differences? What's the differences? Okay. Now we could compare this to a C9, but I don't have one. I don't have a C9. What I do have is a Haskell, the 45. Okay, and this is what you would get today. The difference between the Haskell and the C9, or this is actually the JHP, which I forgot. I don't know what J stands for. But I know the H stands for Haskell and the P stands for pistol. So it's the Haskell pistol. Jumbo Haskell pistol, I don't know. Gigantic, John, I don't know what the J stands for. I'll have to look that up. But in essence, other than size, this has all the same features that a C9 has. Okay, it's a High Point. So we can draw our parallels for this. And I do happen to have. Sorry I don't have a 9mm. If you really want me to have a 9mm, you know, you can always donate to the channel. I'll be glad to go get one. So let's talk about the differences here. There's some glaringly obvious differences. Huge differences. Okay, they're huge. The JHP has a last round lock open. It has a American style release, button release up here. It has a polymer frame, polymer trigger. It has an adjustable, removable rear sight. It has a magazine disconnect. It has a drop safety in it. It has a rail on the front. So those are all the features off the top of my head I can think of. JHP and the standard High Point. They have all these things. The Stallard has a European mag release. See right there, it's a European mag release. It has absolutely no magazine disconnect in it. There's no magazine disconnect safety. It does not have a last round lockback feature. It does, however, have a drop safety in the grip. What else? The sights on this are cast into the slide. They're not adjustable. Can't do anything with them except shoot with them. The guide rod that's in here, I didn't mention it on the other one, is metal. It's also part of the slide. Whereas in the new High Points, it's plastic and it's removable. What else is different on here? Let's talk about no rail. There's no rail on this. The magazines are completely different. They're flush mount, as you can see. There's no venting anywhere. There's one hole in the bottom. That's it. It has the same safety on the side. The grips are completely different. Completely and utterly different. These ones are really nice, comfortable, sturdy feeling grips, as opposed to these real slippery, rounded, thick grips that you get on the newer high points. You've got a bigger trigger guard on and more room on the original high point than you do on the new ones. It's also way thinner. Now remember, this model I have in my hand came in 40 and 45, and it was really no thicker. Look at the difference there. Absolutely just thinner. Okay, this is like a slab side. It's completely flat running down the side. This has got ridges and the little strip running down the side there. This is an all metal firearm. This is a steel alloy frame, steel alloy slide. The only pieces of plastic on this gun are the grips and the follower and the magazine. Everything else on this Stallard JS-9 is steel. But here's the funny thing. It's lighter than the full-size high point. This has a 4 3/4 inch barrel. I believe these have a 4 3/4 inch barrel, or 4 inch now, 4.5. We shortened the barrel a little bit, I believe, on these. The serrations on the slide, okay, they're very grippy. I mean, you can grip right on them. Okay, get right on those suckers. Whereas the serrations on the slide on the 45, they're a little lackluster. Most of us grab it right here, right dead center. This has a loaded chamber indicator. The 45 does. The new high point, I should call it. This does not. The JS-9, the Stallard. The doll head, the pin that goes in the back that holds the slide frame, it's round, but it's not spherical on the new high point. It's basically a flat round head on the pin. And either way you index it into the slide, the holes line up in the frame, because you have to knock that pin out of the back of the frame. Whereas on the Stallard, it's a complete sphere. It's like a globe. And it spins 360 degrees in there, so you've got to line that up. You can kind of see it protruding out the back right there. And then there's the new one on the high point there. New high point. I hate the fact that I'm pointing at myself. I know safety Nazis are having a conniption. Guys, these guns are empty. Okay. Completely empty. There's no other way I can do this. So I'm just trying to show you this is for instruction. Calm your tits. Alright, so how does this thing feel? How does this feel? Okay, so we kind of talks about some of the differences there. I'm trying to think if there's any other major differences. Thinking about it, so internally they're pretty much the same. The extractors are a little bit different. They're both external extractors, but the one on the new high points, as you can tell, is kind of countersunk, whereas the one on the older style is flush and thicker. But they're held basically the same way. It appears, though, that let's see here, side by side, not the same size pin even. The trigger pull. Let's talk trigger pull. The trigger pull on the new high point about 6 pounds, 5.5 to 6 pounds. And honestly, you've got a spring that you're fighting all the way through. So that's why a lot of people have a hard time feeling that wall. But once you get used to one of these guns, you can feel it just fine. I'm on it right now. Okay, I'm about to fire. There we go. The trigger on the new high point is smooth, but it's slippery. It's like I call it spongy. And because of how short this trigger is and how drastic the curve is in it, when you're pulling back, it's kind of got this kind of a dramatic arch that it swings within. It's a lot different. And it maintains that spring pressure, as you see right there. It maintains that spring pressure. That's still about 1.5 pounds of pressure sitting there. Whereas this one, let me get a round and put it in here. This is going to be a dead round. It's pre-shot. I don't want this pin falling on an empty chamber. This has the original firing pin in it still, so we'll get to that in a minute. I'll talk about firing pins. I know before you guys heard me say don't stick your finger in there either. Now do as I say, not as I do. Okay. The trigger on this one, you take up the little bit of like 1/16 inch of an inch play there, and then it just stops. It's a dead stop. And then you squeeze a little harder, and it just goes and fires. And I can still feel that spring. This trigger's a little more crisp. It's got a little bit more of a pull to it. And as you can see here, that ejector works really well. All right. Okay, so these still use the firing pin as an ejector. They do still do that, which is fine. Okay, I know a lot of people have an issue with that, but it's fine. Firing pins are free. Okay, they're free. F-R-E-E, free. Your parts are free. Try that with Glock or anybody else. You'll have to excuse my brother. He's just texting me here. So how does this little 9mm shoot? Well, pretty damn good, to be honest with you. I like it. I like it a lot. I did have some issues, and I had to repair them and then go back at it and get them sorted out. This particular pistol, this JS-9, was probably manufactured, I want to say, no newer than 91. There's a deal with these Stallards and Mavericks and stuff where they kept changing the place they put the serial number. It could be on the pad, right on the slide, right here in front of the trigger guard, on the right side or the left. Mine's on the left. It could be on the grip on the back. It could be on the grip on the front, under the trigger guard, under here, like it is today. They moved it all around. But you can go online and there's like a history that you can look at of when they were stamping what where. And I've heard that actually the ATF kind of got pissed off at Stallard at the beginning there. It started making him stamp the frames before finishing the guns because they came in and he had a bunch of finished 9mm all boxed up, ready to go. but he hadn't serialized them yet. So what he used to do is, and this is part of the reason why they're all over the place, is as they would go out the door, he'd put the serial number on them. And the ATF was like, no, that's bad juju. You can't do that. No, no, no. So he quit doing that. Let's talk about how the shot, and we'll get a little more into the history. I'm very intrigued by stuff like this, guys. Okay, I'm kind of geeking out a little bit over high points. Not many people do that, but I'm one of the ones that do. And we'll talk about prices, too, because the prices on this thing are all over the damn board. Okay, they're all over the board. Really low to really high, because they're collectible. So let's talk about accuracy. Let me get in here. I got something under my, there we go, under my chair there. Okay. So we did I had one target today to shoot on. Went back to the range, and there's some results on here for some other guns that I'm going to do videos on. So this target's kind of crammed. So every inch of this piece of paper has a shot through it. So I had to mark them as I went through. But we started off with it right here. This was my initial shots. This is a 5-shot group. And it's right here. Okay, it's a 5-shot group. This one, as you can see, is a double. All right. So that's standing at 11 yards. Then I went sitting on a rest at 11 yards, aiming at that little 5 right there. And I got this little group right here that I can cover with my thumb. And then this is also the JS-9, but this is different. What this all is, what I'm covering with my hand, I was running, I don't know what you would call the drills. Basically, it's a site acquisition drill that I do. You take your firearm, you load a magazine, you put it in there, you put one in the chamber, you put the safety on, you lay the gun down. Okay, of course, barrel pointed down range. You turn with your back towards the target, and you sit there, and you have somebody stand kind of off to where you can't see them. You're listening to them. So it kind of hones your listening skills a little bit as well. And they say threat fire, okay, whatever the code word is, in my case, this one was threat. And you have to spin around, turn around, grab the gun, bring it up, drop the safety, if your gun has a safety. Acquire your target and put 2 shots on target. Put the safety back on, lay it back down, step back, turn around. And you have to keep doing that. And doing that, we did it too with my 22. So there's you'll see some littler holes on here that I struck a line through. Those are 22 holes. And I did that to depict them. But you'll see the line, okay? I'm kind of all over the place with it, but at least I got them all on the paper for that. And I can cover it with my hand. So if you want to take that to a center of mass size target, you can see it would definitely be in the area good enough. Okay. So for defensive accuracy, yeah, it's fine. But from a rest, as you can see there, it will shoot a nice little 3/4 inch group. From a high point, a Stallard. A lot of people, you hear them complain and talk, high points aren't accurate, and blah, blah. It's not true. Gun's more accurate than you are. You just have to learn how to use it. That's proof of it. So, there you go. There's the accuracy. Now, I did have issues with this today, though. I did have some issues. It was double feeding, which I figured out, got it fixed. And it was doing some light strikes because it had an extremely worn out firing pin spring. Luckily, I had brought this guy with me and my bag of parts, because I keep extras. I call High Point up and I go, can you send me a firing pin, springs, extractors, this, that? I need this because I'm doing this, that, and the other thing. And they usually go, yeah, sure. What do you want? You know, here you go. I got a rear sight for this, and an extra firing pin, springs, and an extractor and a spring, and stuff like that. And they sent it to me, no problem. Well, when I found out about this, I took it apart right there at the range, and I was like, okay, what's going on with this? And I found that, deformed spring in there. So I took it out, and I'm staring at this, and I'm like, man, this looks a lot like my 45 stuff. I wonder if it'll fit. I bet it will. So I take the new spring, and I take the new firing pin, and just kind of test fit the two of them in here. And in the end, for whatever reason, I decided to just, because the Stallard spring was, or the Stallard pin, firing pin, was still good, I just used the spring and I put the spare firing pin back in case something happened to this one. Or this one. Get either one of them running again. Put it back in there. Put the gun back together, got back on target with it, and she started running. Really good. Like, boom, 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 boom. Jamming was done. Double feeding was done. Light striking was done. Now, when I did that spring swap, it did increase my trigger pull a little bit. I'm willing to do that. Okay, a little heavier trigger pull by about half a pound. Gun runs. Gun don't run. Light trigger pull. I'm going to take, obviously, the heavier trigger pull. But it's not enough to matter. So even after all these years, I don't know how many rounds have gone through this thing. I bought it used. I paid $100 for this. This thing still runs. So when people say, oh, your High Point's only good for, I've heard stupid stuff like 1,500 rounds, 2,000 rounds. And then you get to throw them away. That kind of stuff. Partisan comments like that. I'm sure this has way over that. It did need some springs replaced. And the feed lips adjusted and the magazine cleaned. Taken apart, which I did do. Put it back together. She ran like brand new. I mean, 3/4 inch group off of a stand with this. Come on now, seriously. You saw the target. All right. You saw it. So, they're absolutely awesome, guys. Now, there is another version of this. Remember, I was talking about the history a little more. Shortly after Stallard started making these, another investor showed up with the last name of Haskell and kind of joined forces with Stallard. He started to build these guns, but in 45. And that is why our 45s on the side say Haskell Manufacturing Incorporated, Lima, Ohio. Because these are Haskells. And that's why it's also really fair to use my 45. Because the 45 is based on the original JS model. The JS-45, which was the Haskell, and the JS-9, which is this one. The JS-45 is the same size as this. Later on, there was another gentleman, and I, for the love of God, can't remember his name. Starts with a C. That's why you got the JCP. Iberia was started. That was a 40 caliber version. Then you have these three guns going. And then there's a lot of history here that I'm still learning. MKS Supply picks them up. MKS Supply then eventually starts the brand name High Point. And I believe MKS got either bought by an investment group, B. Miller Manufacturing, or it's a subsidiary, or I'm not clear on that yet. But that's when High Point shows up. And there are guns out there that are all steel like this, with the High Point logo on them. It'll be the JF model, the Justin Franklin models. And 40, 45, and 9. They're all full size. Okay? So, there's a little bit of High Point history for you. Okay? A little more than you probably wanted to know. A lot of y'all have probably never seen one of these. Okay? Or maybe you have and didn't realize you were staring at the predecessor to a High Point. Again, what can you buy these for? Like I said, they're all over the board. I got lucky and found this one for $100. I've found some recently online as low as $39 on Gunbroker. After shipping, they're about $50. And when you pay $20 for your FFL, $70. You got to add all that stuff in. So, you know, $50 to $70 low end. But I've seen some of these sell. Not just listed, but sell for $400 for a Stallard JS-9. They're extremely collectible. High Point collectors will pay some money for these things. If you've got one in impeccable shape, especially if you got one with the box, instructions and everything, could be sitting on a new 1911 and you don't realize it. So, take that into consideration. And their value just keeps going up. Same thing with some of the modern High Points. The all-green High Points. The money High Point. That's the ugliest High Point there is. The stupidest High Point there is. Unless they actually release a Yeet cannon. Right now, the Benjamins, they're not going to release a Yeet cannon. It's going to be the C9G2. I'm kind of, again, privy to some information. But don't quote me. Those guns are actually starting to gain in value, believe it or not. The all-green 45s. The chrome version of this. There's an all-chrome version of this gun out there. They're worth a little bit of money. I've heard that if you have one of these, there's a possibility you could send your black one in, have it repaired, and either make a request or mention it or something and get a chrome one back. I've heard that. Okay, I'm on a couple High Point groups and talked to a few High Point collectors, and they've mentioned that. The camo JHPs are worth some money. I don't know if you guys remember the all gold C9. That were a lot of money. The gray 380s are worth a little bit more money than a regular 380. There are some collectible things about High Points. There's little twists and turns about them through the years that make them kind of collectible. Right? You never thought that. You'd never think that about a High Point. But it's the truth. So with that, guys, I'm going to go ahead and end the video here. Hopefully you enjoyed this history lesson, the best I could give it. I know I've maybe messed some things up. I know I have kind of rambled on about it, but it's interesting. So there it is, the High Point. Sorry, Stallard, not a High Point. Stallard JS-9 millimeter, full size. The predecessor to the C9, the High Points we have today. Which also leaves me with one question. All you Generation Z, Yeet cannon loving mothers out there. Do you even eat cannon, bro? So with that, I'm out of here. God bless you. Like, rate, subscribe. Take a kid fishing, take a kid shooting. Keep your eyes on the target. Keep your powder dry. And, well, see y'all on the flip. Bye now.